afternoon, 7th grade Bobcats. Mr. Flato here. Welcome back to another week at the Helena Middle School. On today's Bob lesson, it's one of my favorite Bob lessons. Came up with this a couple years ago. It's called Three Things. And what this Bob lesson really talks about is not when, not if, but when other people are trying to get under your skin, other people are trying to project and take their stuff out on you. Other people want to gossip and spread gossip and rumors about you. All these things that we have no control over that unfortunately other people do sometimes to disrespect us. How do we handle that situation? And more specifically, what are three things that we shouldn't do that kind of puts it to bed, that doesn't give it energy to continue to grow and affect us? And most importantly, when somebody disrespects you, they want something from it and not giving that person what they want. So that's what this Bob lesson is all about today. It's called Three Things. I hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you guys are getting off to a great start on this semester. Make it a great week. This week's Bob lesson is titled Three Things. But first, let's be our best this week at HMS. Let's be Bob. Let's be safe. Let's be responsible. Let's be respectful. Let's be a learner. All right, I'm going to start this Bob lesson by simply putting a fish hook up on this screen. And this is a metaphor for when other students are disrespectful to you, or what happens a lot in middle school, it seems like, is there's lots of gossip and rumors going around. And I think the origin of gossip and rumors comes from everybody in this school being very insecure, myself included, teachers included, adults included, but 11 to 14-year-olds are especially insecure. And when people are insecure trying to find their way through life, a lot of times they'll put gossip and rumors out there to affect other people. And it's kind of like fishing. For any of you that have been fishing, you know you take a hook and you decorate it in bait. This is a worm on a bait. Some people use marshmallows. Other people use like lures, I think they're called. I'm not much of a fisherman. And the whole point of it is you want to catch something. You want to put your hook out there into the water, decorate it with something enticing called bait, and hope that a fish comes and snags it. And then once they snag it with their mouth, you've got them hooked and you've got them. Well, what does this have to do with middle schoolers? Well, middle schoolers, when they put out gossip, they put out rumors, or they put out disrespect, it's like they're putting out a hook and have bait on that hook, and they're trying to entice a reaction. If you think about why other people are disrespectful, it's all based in wanting an action. That's the only thing that they want. Just like fishermen want to put that hook out there and they want to reel in a big rainbow trout, when people get disrespectful, they want to put out something and they want a reaction. When people put disrespect out there, the main thing they want, their main goal, their main prize, is getting a negative reaction out of you. So on today's Bob lesson, I'm going to talk about three things to never do. And I talk about this all the time when students come into my office and there's rumors or gossip going on and they feel like they're powerless and there's nothing they can do about it. And in a lot of respects, they're right. The only thing you can really control in life is yourself and your actions. You cannot control other people. And these are the three things that I talk to students a lot about. These are the three things to never do so that you don't take the bait. All right, the first thing to never do, and this one is more specifically for gossip and rumors and people putting something out there to see how you react, is get defensive. And the reason that getting defensive is bad is because it gives that person that reaction that they're wanting. When people get defensive, they look guilty. When people get defensive, and you're trying so hard to convince somebody that no, you're not that, or no, you're not this, or no, that didn't happen, you look really guilty. And one of the main things that people look for when they put a rumor or gossip out there is to see, does that person get defensive? Getting defensive is one of the worst things you can do, and it's tough because it's very counterintuitive. If somebody comes up and says something that's untrue, your natural reaction is to want to respond and defend yourself. And it's okay to calmly defend yourself, but when you get super defensive and agitated and worked up, it makes you look guilty, and it gives that person the feeling that you just bit the bait and they're going to continue fishing on. So don't get defensive. Don't feel the need to defend yourself. Just let it roll right off your back, just like whatever. That's pretty dumb. Obviously not true, but I'm not going to waste the time, effort, or energy to defend myself on something that's so ridiculous. All right, the second thing to never do is display negative emotion. And when we think about this, that is exactly taking the bait and that feeling of reeling in a fish that this person is wanting. When they disrespect you or when they put a gossip or rumor out there about you and you display any negative emotion, I think the top three that I came up with are anger, getting mad, getting agitated, getting really angry with that person, or sadness, crying, being upset, showing that you're sad, or getting frustrated, getting angry, and exhibiting these emotions. If you think about it, the second that this happens is the second that you bite that hook. The second that you display negative emotion when these things happen is the second that that other person wins. And I know it's not a game, but sometimes it can feel like a game, and we have to approach a lot of things life like it is a game, like we have to have a strategy, and that's the overall thing I'm trying to talk about today. So the second thing to never do when somebody disrespects you or somebody puts a gossip or rumor out there about you is display negative emotion, and this is a very tricky and difficult one to do. One of my favorite sayings is never let them see you sweat. And what that means is kind of the overarching thing of what I'm talking about today is never let them see you get affected, because once you do is the second that they win. All right, and that brings us to the third thing to never do when you get disrespected or there's gossip and rumors going on about you is continue talking about it. A lot of this stuff, especially with gossip and rumors, especially with the middle school, you guys know, you give it 24, 48 hours and people are talking about something new. People have short memory spans. They move on to the next thing pretty quickly. It's kind of a human being thing, and it's kind of like having a campfire. Except you don't want to have a campfire, and the only way for a campfire to keep burning is to keep putting wood on it or keep putting fuel on it. The more fuel you put on it, the longer it's going to burn for. Well, a lot of times continue talking about it with your friends, with your classmates, with other people is a surefire way to keep it alive. Now, I want to make a very big dichotomy here, coming and talking to myself, a trusted adult, your parents, your teacher. That's okay, because we're talking about it in private and maybe we're coming up with strategies on how to let the fire burn out. But if you're talking about it amongst your peers, amongst your friends, you're keeping it alive and therefore it'll stay alive. Next quote of the week, and I just said this a couple minutes ago, never let them see you sweat. And that's what this is all about. So many times in life there's going to be people that test you. There's going to be people that mess with you, that test you, that want to see if they can pull one over on you, if they can disrespect you. And the second that they see you sweating, they see that it upsets you, the second that they see that it gets under your skin is the second that they win. Don't let them win. It's like people that do fish that I talk to. They throw the hook out there. If they're getting bites and they're reeling in fish, they're going to continue fishing in that spot. And I always say, well, what happens if you put your casting line out there and you've been fishing there for an hour and you don't get any bites? And you know what they say? They say, well, we go somewhere else. Okay? So when you never let them see you sweat, they're going to go somewhere else and you're going to pass the test. That brings us to this week's Jellybean Question of the Week winners, who are Cameron Klemp, Sophia Citraro, Aiden Hagman, Silas Orta, and Nevaeh Beer-Ford. The answer of what is the only two things you can't eat for breakfast, of course, is lunch and dinner. This week's Jellybean Question of the Week is, what has a head, a tail, is brown, and has no legs? If you think you know, submit your answer to the Bob Box by Friday. Tune in next week to see if you're a winner. All right, Bobcats, let's make it a great week at the Helena Middle School.